So you might ask, why is LTC a sustainable partner? What we do is electronic. It doesn't leave much of a footprint. But we are going to be your partner in getting your word out and letting people know about all the initiatives that you're doing. I remember when recycling was just an idea, and so many people thought, people will never sort their trash at home. It's way too time consuming. They won't buy bins for plastic and paper. It will never happen. It's just a dream. Well, now, of course, it's just the new normal and everybody does it, and it's just the way things are. And everyone in this room knows that the initiatives that you're working on will be the new normal very soon, but it will take a lot of communication. We know that we're not going to have plastic bags in supermarkets, and people aren't going to be drinking bottled water out of plastic, and there's going to be solar panels on everyone's houses, and there are going to be wind turbines off our beaches. It's going to happen, and we can make it happen sooner by just getting the word out over and over in different ways to people and let them understand that they have a role to play. And that's where LTC comes in, and we have several initiatives to help further sustainability in Lowell. First thing we're doing is we're working with 350 Mass, the Lowell unit, on their show, which is called Earth Talks Back. It's a monthly show that they put out, and then they put it on their website and get it out. Then we have a new show called The Green Connection. And this is where you all come in, because this is our collaborative show, and we really want all the organizations in Lowell that are working on sustainability efforts to make videos and give them to us, and we'll put them together into a compilation show called The Green Connection. Plus, we'll push them out individually on our website and social media, and it can be a real citywide collaboration. And if you want to make videos and just continually think about communicating as you do your work, there are several ways to do that. We can do that for you. We can cover your events and record your speakers and do promos and issue pieces for you at a very affordable rate through our production services. Or you can do it yourself by becoming a member and taking out equipment and coming in here to edit and do it yourself. It's a little time consuming, but you can do it. The other way is we have a program called The Issue at Hand, which is a collaboration of local nonprofits, and they come together every few months and plan out the next few months of programs, and they collaborate together on issues that they're working on in common. And then they do all the content of the show, and we do all the technical stuff. And then, of course, there's LTC News. And if you're doing something that you think is newsworthy, or there's some event happening or a speaker that's really important, please let us know, and maybe we'll do a news segment on that. We really tried to get out into the community for that program.
What I'd like to say to you, I think sometimes, you're working hard to help people understand why it's important that you do what you do, that we go green, that we push ourselves away from fossil fuels. But sometimes it's hard to understand, but let me be the bellwether. 4 years ago when I became a city councilor, I have to admit, more than half the people I met, because Jay had had worked with me to put in some motions, and I got this, Bill, that's good, but pay attention to the tax rate. Such and such roads need to be taken care of. It's not that they were against going green, it was other things are more important. But let me tell you, as I'm now coming into my third term, it's changed. There are more people saying, that was a good motion. I'm glad the council is thinking that way. I'm glad that people are coming together to understand what is happening. What I'll say is I have two granddaughters that I love very much. And the one thing I want to do is I want to give them a world that is safe for them, that has resources, that they don't have to worry about, this climate change. I mean, let's put it this way, like I'll try to talk to some people and say, whether you believe in climate change or not, something is going on. So isn't it better when you do something to try to be a little safer? Isn't it better not to try to damage the earth? And I have to say, it has hit home. I've told people that this was true, but it was about a week and a half ago. I was in the house and doing something, and I threw some things into the barrel. My wife said, "What are you doing? Do you realize what this is going to do, how this will impact the earth? Do you realize, you talk about you care for your granddaughters. Joyce, I'm tired, I'm sorry. I just did this thing." But you know what? It's important, okay? Because I felt good in the sense of that my own wife, felt it was important, and she talked about what are we doing for our children. So what I do is I turn that over to you. This is what you're doing for everybody's children. It's worthwhile, and I think sometimes you say, well, the political forces are not listening. There are so many, and you find out when you get into this, this area that you can't satisfy all of the people, but you can't do everything. When you build these new buildings, we're going to work in the new high school, that the high school is green. It's important, like last Tuesday, children from the daily school had a project, and they came in and they were so proud of their project. And what you have is a young army of people that will be not afraid to venture forth. Do you know, this is what I'm trying, this is the only message I want to deliver you. So I want to leave you with this. I will do my best to assist in what you're trying to do. The entire, as far as I'm concerned, the entire city council is ready to do that. They're thinking in those terms. And what I'll leave you with is that you do have a challenge, and keep on doing what you're doing. Keep on giving that information out to people, because as I want to go back to what I was, my beginning, at one point people were listening. They are listening now. Some people are fearful, that's why they're listening, because they see the different climate issues or other issues, the price of certain things going up. But people are listening. So give them the reason why to listen, give them the knowledge, and you will have them as supporters. And I earnestly think within the next few years, I see a major pendulum change to people really saying this is what we've got to do to protect our earth. So thank you for what you do.
Thank you all for attending tonight's conversation. We have a massive challenge in front of us with the effects of climate change, and tonight we take a collective step forward with your help to address this challenge, and we ask you to help us expand our effectiveness. The planet is heating up rapidly. I don't need to tell anybody in this room that fact. And as you may recall, our region, the weather patterns are getting very, very interesting, okay? Last fall, there was a windstorm in my neighborhood that knocked out power for 3 days. Now, that had never happened in the 24 years that I've lived in Lowell, and it's not the kind of normal that I'm used to. And I'm spoiled, right? I don't live in Puerto Rico or the Caribbean, which was affected in a much dire and more severe way. So I do have friends there, and it's my understanding that 40% of Puerto Rico is still without power. So we're here to solve a problem. We're here to make something happen, and I think collectively we can do that. Together we bring a diverse group of community-centered agencies, groups, and partners into one place, and we expand our capabilities towards a common goal as a whole. We allow and access the leverage of others to expand our own abilities, and we create a multiplier effect. And I really think and believe that kind of de-siloing of what we do is super, super important. I'll just give you a couple of quick examples, because there is a lot of different tools that we have in the toolbox. For example, when we make the effort to engage the no-till farming methods that are being introduced by eco-farmers. They're drawing carbon out of the atmosphere and making healthy, locally produced foods more available and more affordable. That's a collaboration. The pipeline fights that our grassroots groups are waging are creating a place for more sustainable, non-fossil fuel energy sources and the jobs they create, while holding back the industries that would irresponsibly create a multi-billion-dollar infrastructure that would increase our reliance on long-term dirty energy, enabling our addiction to natural gas, the so-called bridge fuel. These are not things that we want to support, nor can we afford to allow them to continue to be developed. The citywide open space planning forum that we did last week as a community. We had the Department of Planning and Development with neighborhood groups and interested citizens meeting for open space and developing access to green space. We had the Complete Streets program, where we bring a focus on developing more electric vehicles along with bicycles and planning to have a more diverse and representational kind of transportation system that allows a better way of handling our transportation needs. But critically, and the thing that I'm most excited about, is we're also directly addressing the carbon and methane pollution issues which strike at the heart of climate change by supporting, as a community, as a city, a tougher gas leaks law, which we had unanimously passed last year at City Council here in Lowell, and also the Road to 100% Renewable Energy Resolution. This takes Lowell on a course towards a cleaner energy future over the next 17 years, and in fact will require Lowell to be 100% renewable by 2035. Now that's an ambitious goal, and it is a non-binding resolution, but if we intend with our actions to make this something that happens across the state. We're one of the first communities that have passed that. We passed it unanimously, so there's a will to do this, and we need to seize that will and work with it and turn it to advantage. As I say, it's a time issue.
Thank you so much for having me here at this forum. Thank you, LTC, for putting together this forum, and thank you everyone for showing up. This just really is one of the many things that excites me when I see so many people in so many different areas coming together to collectively solve problems. Just to give you a little bit of information about my background, I came to Lowell 7 years ago to study and get my energy engineering degree at UMass Lowell. My emphasis was in solar energy, and I wanted to study solar energy and specifically because I think that if you solve the energy piece, a lot of other environmental, social justice issues get solved as well. So this is the stuff that really excites me. And Lowell is a wonderful place to be working because the city of Lowell has made significant investments in energy efficiency and in renewable energy. And one of the things that I get to do in my day job is I like to track all that. I like to keep numbers and metrics, and it's just really astonishing. Lowell was one of the first green communities designated within the Commonwealth, and one of the things that you have to do as a green community is to create an energy reduction plan and to track how you're doing with reducing your energy use. As part of that, Lowell also did a large $21 million upgrade to a lot of their facilities. There were a total of 28 energy conservation measures that were applied to 48 different city buildings. And between that and all the other steps that we've taken to incrementally change what we're doing, since 2008, which was our baseline year, we have reduced our energy use by 16.3%. We've also reduced our greenhouse gas emissions by 30.52% in that time. Part of what we've done as well is invest in renewable energy. We have solar panels on 4 of our schools, on our water department's building, on our wastewater department's building, on the Lowell Memorial Auditorium. And we also have large installations on our closed landfill and in Orange and Athol. And between all of those different types of solar facilities, they have generated a total of 39.7 million kilowatt hours, saving the city $1.4 million in avoided energy costs. And if you compare the kilowatt hours produced by solar to the kilowatt hours consumed by the city, it's about 23% of our overall kilowatt hour to kilowatt hour comparison. And so these are all really great and wonderful things, but how do we continue to build upon success? What else can we do to excel still more in these areas? One of the things that you may notice in your neighborhoods right now, we're doing a retrofit of all of our street lighting. We're changing to LEDs, and this is not only going to save us another 2.3 million kilowatt hours annually. It'll also save the city $390,000 a year. We're 51% complete with our retrofit at this point, and we anticipate having it in everything retrofit by the end of the fiscal year, which is really exciting, hopefully even sooner. But even more so than that, what we're really excited about is looking at what does it mean to go to 100% renewable? How do you measure that? How do you track that? And what practical steps can we take to get us there? And one of the practical things that we're looking at doing, as Jay had mentioned, is we're getting ready to apply to launch a Solarize program. This is a program by the Mass CEC, and they work with communities to help make it easier to go solar. One of the things that we've done to try and make it easier is we have a streamlined process for the permitting for our solar. We recently were designated as a gold level Soul Smart community, and this is a program that recognizes the specific steps that communities take to make it easier, to make it more user-friendly, to make the process quicker, easier, and less expensive to really get renewables in there. And we're hoping that by combining that with the Solarize program, even more people will be able to utilize the benefits of renewable energy. And so we think that the future is very bright, and I'm really excited to see everyone in this room.
No, actually, I've got a purpose here, two purposes actually, to talk about Earth Day and a new vision thing I'm going to throw at you for getting your support about that's connected to Earth Day, right? Last 5 years, myself and a whole group of partners at UMass Lowell and within the city, including 350 Mass and Parks and Conservation Trust and CMA and CBA, we've been putting on a parade on Earth Day using young students who built puppets in schools in the weeks prior to Earth Day, having a band, bringing out the community and gathering people together, saying, you know, this idea of Earth Day is a way to celebrate the Earth and to educate people around the questions of environment and sustainability. It's just one small thing that we've been doing, but we've been doing it very successfully, and we had a festival working with Mill City Grows. I'm a board member of Mill City Grows, and the event has become institutionalized, and it's come off, and the kids have a good time. We take to the streets, and it says something about what we believe in about Earth Day. But the story of Earth Day is also the story of the second thing I want to talk to you very quickly about, is that as a result of that activity, and in part because we had a workshop at the university a year ago in November, where we brought a whole bunch of faculty and scientists from University College in Cork, and they came and we had a nice conference and we ate a lot of cookies and then drank coffee and stuff like that and showed a lot of PowerPoints. It's what you have to do. And in doing so, we showed them around Lowell, and a guy there, he was the vice provost of the University College of Cork, he said, well, you know, Cork is a UNESCO learning city, and it seems to me that Lowell's got everything in place to become a learning city. Okay, well, I've heard of UNESCO, but I hadn't heard about learning cities. So I think, oh, this is kind of an interesting idea. So, you with me so far? It gets more exciting in a minute. Okay, so I go to Cork because they have a Festival of Learning last April, and that's great. I'm enjoying the Festival of Learning, and I'm learning a little bit about that. And Cork got awarded by UNESCO as the City of Learning of the Year. Now, UNESCO, to Americans, that's a big organization towards the UN, which, you know, Americans don't believe in very much. The rest of the world cares very much about this. About 10 years ago, UNESCO started this City of Learning project, and 140 cities around the world are now learning cities, getting support from UNESCO and getting designation, and getting an award if you meet certain qualifications. I went back to Cork in September last year, and they were getting the award at the International Conference of Learning Cities. 700 people from 120 countries showed up. And the only country in the world that doesn't have a learning city is the United States of America. So I'm thinking, Lowell, learning city. There's a lot to like and learn about Lowell. So we started a project building on the things we're doing on Earth Day to think about making Lowell and framing it as a learning city. And why this is important passionately to my heart is that for 27 years, I've been a teacher at UMass Lowell, a professor of political science. I love education, and like many of you, I think, really believe that the true way to a sustainable world is not only all the things we're all doing here, but having people who are educated, tolerant, thoughtful, aware, critical citizens. And unless we do that, we'll fall into fascism. And so with Lowell poised to do that, and with the potential of all the groups and folks working in Lowell who have a lot of skills that they can teach each other, the idea of creating a culture of learning in Lowell, I think, is going to be the way for the future to establish true sustainability. And I say that because I think universities and schools create a culture of learning. That's a very different thing from a culture of teaching, which is a very different thing. I messed that up. I don't have any notes. Schools and universities create a culture of teaching and not a culture of learning, okay? And then if we can create a vibrant, a robust culture of learning in the city of Lowell and advertise it as such, not only will we build sustainability, but I think the real potential we have for dealing with changes that are economic and structural about what kinds of skills we teach people, what kinds of skills are necessary for people, and how those skills marry with sustainability. We have a really, really good opportunity to do that. So I'm promoting this idea of Lowell as a city of learning. We want to apply for UNESCO designation for that. We are going to try and do a pilot City of Learning festival, the 4 days up to the parade we do for Earth Day this April, bringing all of you folks and lots of stuff around this idea, and hopefully building a new image of the city as not only the city of the mill, the city of the immigrant, but the city that believes in education. And this goes back to Pat Mogan and the Mogan Center, because Pat Mogan thought of Lowell as an educative city, a place without classroom walls, a place where the passion for knowledge is real, and a place where the experience of learning is something that creates a world of tolerant, civilized human beings, and God knows we need that now. So, thank you.
My name is Geoffrey Koetsch. We recently formed a group of Sierra Club members in Lowell. There are 1,700 members and supporters in Lowell. I was astonished to find that out myself. And our goal is to extend the reach of the Sierra Club that's based in Boston. I'm usually better when I speak from a script, so I will turn to that. We are having our next meeting. We meet monthly. We're having our next meeting at Boot Mills in the function room there, and that will be on the 14th, which everyone is reminding me is Valentine's Day. So I said, well, you can reaffirm your love for the environment, or you can bring someone you love to the meeting. In August 2017, a group of environmental activists met together at Boot Mills to form a Lowell arm of the Sierra Club. We formed this group to extend the reach and influence of the Massachusetts chapter of the Sierra Club into the northeast region of the state, but we are based in Lowell. Our goals are to lobby for environmental protections in city councils and the regional agencies, to forge alliances with other state and national environmental groups, and to lend support to state and national Sierra Club initiatives. Currently, we're advocating regionally for the creation of an electric bus fleet for the Lowell Regional Transportation Authority and for a bus fleet at UML. We're also begun to move towards an ordinance to control the wasteful overuse of single-use plastic containers, and we have information about all of those initiatives at our table. Just to remind you, some of you probably already know, but the Sierra Club was founded by the legendary conservationist John Muir in 1892, so it's the oldest. The Sierra Club is now the nation's largest and most influential grassroots environmental group with 2.8 million members and supporters in the nation.
My name is Mary Taurus. I work for an organization called Lowell Alliance. We have been around in the community for about 20 years, working in the neighborhoods and with families. I've been fortunate to be working with the organization for a little over a year and a half. And after graduating from UMass Lowell's Community Social Psychology program, it's so wonderful to see the rich diversity of community organizations to serve the community in so many different ways. But quickly we recognize and we're constantly faced with the fact that it is a small community. We seem to always see the same faces, and more often than not, those faces are not necessarily representative of the large diversity in the community. So Lowell Alliance partners with a vast kind of diverse, as I said, group of organizations to focus on issues that affect the community. Right now we're working on affordable housing issues, the voting rights issues, to make sure that our systems of electing our representatives do represent the citizens of the city. And so I'm here today in bringing the conversation to social and economic justice as those other legs of the sustainability conversations.